I hate soccer.
Do you have an opinion on, okay, let's say kid tears their ACL.
Yeah. Of where they should go?
Yes.
I actually tore my ACL, and I went to Excelsior.
When? Okay.
In my junior year of high school.
Okay. Going through that process, is that what made you want to do PT?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I definitely enjoy.
Everybody that ever tears their ACL wants to be a PT after that experience. It seems like
it's comical. So I'm filling out an application right now for an internship opportunity, and like right off the bat, they're like, why did you want to become a PT? And I right off the bat, I'm just like every other person that applied here. I tore my ACL. That's how I started it. Yeah, so it's funny that you bring that up.
It is funny.
But I went to Excelsior. I had a great experience there. They were great over there.
Yeah.
Which UBMD, the one on Sheridan.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. When I was at Flash with the pros, that was our hub for Excelsior with those guys. I forget some of their names, though. I don't know if they're still around.
Yeah.
But what did you say? Buffalo
UBMD is a good one.
UBMD.
Yeah. And I guess anybody that's recovering from an injury like that, my biggest suggestion: don't rush. Don't rush. Don't cut it down to 7 months. Take that 9 months, please, because you're so much more likely. Even if it doesn't happen within that year, you're still at a higher likelihood of re-tearing that ACL again.
I get so frustrated when a player tears their ACL, they go through rehab, and doctor clears them, and then these kids think that like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, it's more mental. Like, I want players training by themselves multiple days a week for a month before even going into contact, because if they have a setback, let's say you just tore your ACL and you come back, and let's say you struggle and you're like, oh my God, am I ever going to be the same player? Because every single person or every single player thinks that.
Yeah.
Like, am I ever going to be the same player again?
Yeah.
And then I want that to happen in training. I don't want that to happen in a game or even in a team practice.
Yeah.
Because if that happens there, kids' confidence could be shot.
Totally.
How'd you tear your ACL? Soccer?
I'm sorry?
How'd you tear your ACL?
Well,
Soccer?
I was playing soccer, but I was celebrating a goal. Just blew it out. So I always did this thing where I was defense. I was always defense. We score, I'll go back. I'll give the goalie a little love, little side bump.
Yeah.
I come down, just something I've done a million times. It just gave out on the 1,000,001. And it was terrible. I was so embarrassed. Like, I told everybody like this made up story that I was going up for a header and blop and then this, that, the other thing, because I was just so embarrassed. But now I'm like, whatever. It happens and it's not a big deal. But it just goes to show you that specific situation, like it was just literally a freak accident.
Yeah.
Like literally there's nothing I could have done different besides not do the thing that I've done a million times. So this could be another topic because it could take us forever to talk about, is that like injury prevention is such a myth. There's no such thing as injury prevention.
If you feel stuck in your recruiting process, we created a guide that includes feedback from 15 college coaches and 10 current college soccer players. Inside this guide, you'll find out what really works in recruiting, from showcases, ID camps, highlight reels, and more. Check it out at playmakertraining.com/recruited.
All we can do is try to mitigate the risk, lower the risk of sustaining an injury. And that might be semantics. That might sound like semantics, but anybody that's saying, we're going to prevent you from ever tearing your ACL, like that's
impossible.
It's disingenuous. It's impossible. That can't happen. What we can do is we could make you the most strong, robust athlete possible that you could take on a lot of situations and be confident about. But we can't say that you'll never tear your ACL. We just can't say that, unfortunately. So whenever I talk about injury risk, I say, we could reduce the risk. There's certain exercises, there's certain muscle groups that we could strengthen in order to, decrease that risk of that happening. But I can't tell you that we're going to do any injury prevention here. That's just not, we can't do that, unfortunately.
Okay. I want to come back to that.
Yeah.
I got a funny story real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. My buddy, my best friend,
Okay.
he's going to be 40 this year, just tore his ACL.
Yeah.
He was coaching his son's basketball game.
Yeah.
The ball gets stuck between the rim and the backboard. My buddy goes and knocks it out, lands, pop. And he's a pretty good athlete. You know, it's like, that's a funny story.
Yeah.
Okay. Injury prevention.
Yeah.
I think I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Because I also think that when you tear your ACL, especially when they're non-contact, I wonder what the kid was like the last 3 weeks. Like, I don't think, okay, that movement right there tore your ACL. And I think it was something leading up to that, and that was where the bubble burst.
It's so funny that you say that, because that whole month prior to that, I had knee pain. And partially I ignored it because we were in the playoffs, and you know, like, that was my focus at that moment was playing. And I totally, you know, like, I could look back and just be like, oh, what a dummy. But like, that was my whole life was soccer at that very moment. Like, there was nothing else.
How old were you?
I was a junior. So what was I?
So 17, 16,
yeah.
17. So
that's all I thought about was soccer. So I just ignored it, and I did bring it up to my trainer, but I was like, it's not a big deal. Like, I wouldn't concern about it. But what you're saying about, you know, there's signs, and a lot of that has to do with load management too, because fatigue accumulates. You know what I mean?
Listening to your body.
Yeah. That's why I love that intuitive scale, 0 to 10. I know I keep harping on it, but it's just an easy way for somebody to just.
I'm gonna start
adjust.
using that.
And so, you know, that people always say, I always hear this, is that they feel more out of shape towards the end of their season because they haven't really done any fitness training.
Yeah, they're exhausted.
They're drained because they got ran to the ground doing God knows what in practice.
Yeah.
And they're not prioritized recovery, or their coach hasn't. And then by then, you know, I had great coaches at Joe's. I'm not saying that I didn't, but you know, sometimes it's hard for the coach to gauge what's going on with 20 kids when all those kids are hyped to play soccer. Like, they're ecstatic to play soccer. That's what they want to do. They want to be there. So sometimes it's hard to be the adult in the room when everybody just wants to go. It's hard to pull back the reins on all the kids.
I hate soccer.